When flying with AviatorWorks and learning procedures, we use a lot of rules of thumb. These are practices that many commercial and professional pilots use to make their flights smooth and comfortable, but they also serve another purpose. When using these little mental shortcuts, you'll end up saving yourself a lot of headaches. Things like leading your turns and altitude changes will reduce the potential for overshooting headings and overshooting altitudes. Having to correct for these little errors all the time actually takes up a lot of mental capacity and contributes to being overloaded. So let's take a look at some of these rule of thumbs you'll be applying in training, and we'll go into them in more depth. The first one is leading your turns. The trick here is to start rolling out of turns using your bank angle as a reference. You divide your bank angle by 2 and use that as the amount of degrees that you should start your rollout. So that might be a little confusing. Let's take a look at it in more detail. I'll be referencing these two instruments, the directional gyro and the attitude indicator. So when I say to lead a turn by 1/2 of your bank angle, what does that mean? Let's pretend that we're making a right turn from our current heading to a heading of 330. And we'll make this turn at an angle of bank of 20 degrees. Here we can see the 20-degree mark on the attitude indicator. So if you divide that by 2, then 1/2 of the bank angle would be 10 degrees, which means we would begin rolling out of the turn 10 degrees before reaching our target heading of 330. If we had a bank angle of 30 degrees, then we'd lead our turn by half of that, which is 15 degrees. If we're in a steep turn at 45 degrees, then we'd lead the turn by half of that, right? Which is around 22 degrees-ish. The other rule of thumb we'll cover is for leveling off from climbs and descents. Here, you can lead your level off by 10% of your vertical speed. To manage this rule of thumb, we'll be using these two instruments, the altimeter and the vertical speed indicator. Let's say that I'm climbing at a rate of 500 feet per minute to an altitude of 2,000 feet, right? So 10% of my vertical speed, which is 500 feet, 10% of 500 feet is 50 feet. That means I'll begin leveling off from my climb 50 feet prior to reaching my target altitude. This works for descents as well and provides a very smooth transition that reduces the potential for overshooting and correcting your levels off. And all of these things taken together make it so it's a lot smoother flight and allows you to anticipate things, which is a really important part of training. Learning to anticipate and learning to use all your instruments for smooth transition so you don't need to correct errors later on.